Welcome to Nexus Edge, the show that will help you get an edge on your competition. I'm your esteemed host, Turd Herder, and this is Nexus Edge. Today, I'm joined by our stupendous panel. We have, starting at the top, Mr. Ziltoid.
Hey.
Hey. Just right next to him, we have... Whoa, no?
I'll make up for Zill's lack of enthusiasm. Hello, everybody.
There you go. And today, we've been joined by another special guest, Mr. Mongoose himself.
Howdy, guys. Just here to give out a bunch of shameless plugs for the next hour and a half.
Can confirm.
Perfect. Now I won't be the only one on the cast, so great. So, thanks, Mongoose, for joining us. We really appreciate it. This has been a work. I think we had you scheduled 3 weeks ago, and it's just kind of been pushed back. So,
yeah, some scheduling difficulties, but we got it done. I got my coffee. Happy to be here, ready to go.
There we go. And so before we get going, I like to just kind of do some quick background questions. What is your, and this might be an interesting question to answer, what is your official role in NGS?
My official role in NGS is I'm a member of the board of directors. There are 9 board of directors, members of the board of directors. I am also the secretary and treasurer. So all of the bills that we have, I take care of all of those. Also for all of the legal stuff as an organization for tax purposes and income and all of that. I handle all that stuff.
And you're also in charge of Patreon, right?
Correct. Yeah, was kind of an easy
transition.
Yeah. To link up those two things is the person who has the money should be the person who is handling the place where the money comes from.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How long have you competed in NGS?
I've been in NGS itself since season 4. I'm one of the many, many chair league refugees before that.
Got it. And what team are you on right now?
I am the team captain of Regen Blue, formerly First Pick Nova.
There you go. What was that season 4? You guys were First Pick Nova?
Yeah, we did one season in NGS as First Pick Nova. 1 or 2 in Chair League. I don't quite recall. I think 1 in Chair League as well as First Pick Nova. And then we joined the Regen fam. And that's why on the Regen Blue logo, you'll see the little Nova embedded in the RG. That's our throwback to our First Pick Nova roots.
That's actually interesting. I saw that before, and I was like, they must just like Nova. I don't know.
That's why. Now you know.
There we go. All right, guys, before we get into the brass tacks of Nexus Edge today, I just want to give a quick shout-out again to GhostDunk. I don't know if you guys saw, but Blizzard actually responded to his article that we talked about a couple weeks ago. So shout-out to that guy making moves and stuff. So good for him. Did you guys read Blizzard's response?
I caught it this morning, yeah. It was linked in one of the Discords I'm in, so I took a peek at that.
Well. You did? Good.
I did, yes.
What did you guys think?
I don't think he's going to be too happy with that response.
I think they wrote a lot and basically said nothing. I think it was a total non-response. They didn't respond to any of the specific questions and issues he brought up with his data. I just think it was a total non-response and kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I did think it was cool that he got a response from them, even if it was kind of like a kind of response.
Yeah, it was a very PR, this guy did some great work, but actually we're just going to ignore it and put out some numbers that don't really say much of anything. And,
not to put a spot on him, but I'm sure they're going to talk a little bit more about that on Nexus Now. That's the podcast with Jackster, Murda, and GhostDunk. They did a really good analysis of GhostDunk's original article. Basically, I read it. I didn't understand a whole lot because I don't know numbers very good, but they did a very good job of explaining it. So I hope that they can take a look at Blizzard's response and actually kind of break down what they didn't respond to. So shout out to those guys. Again, just wanted to give a quick status update on that. All right, guys, let's move on to what happened in the Nexus for us this week. Wono, start us out.
I was like struggling to remember what game we had this week in the
We
shower
played
this morning.
OBC,
I know we did. I got there eventually, but I was like in the shower this morning getting ready for this. I'm like, Turd's gonna ask me what game we played, and I just don't remember. We played a very interesting series against Off-Brand Cereal. We came out with the 2-0 domination.
There you go. Good to hear.
Interesting is the best word I have for it. If you want to check out some Cho'Gall action, some theme teams, go watch the replay cast done by Marczombie and GhostDunk. They did a really good job.
Very nice. Wait, so who ran Cho'Gall? Was that you guys or was that OBC?
No.
How dare you?
We won't touch them. I would veto it even before Snoke there got to.
There you go.
He generally vetoes all the fun stuff. So
the second match they ran a Cho'Gall, Johanna, Lily, and Ariel comp.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was.
If you're gonna run a Cho'Gall comp, I mean,
all we did was draft the Leoric into it, and GG. That's basically it.
All right, Mongoose. What happened to you in the Nexus today or this week?
We had the honor, nay, the privilege of getting bodied by virtual Murky Slayers on Monday. So we took the O2, but we're used to it. On the plus side, we have now gotten out of the way the first, second, and third place teams in our division. So we're looking up. We're only going to lose a little bit more the rest of the season.
Started at the bottom, now you're here.
That's right.
And you beat one of those teams, too, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I'm going to say matchup.
Best of three. That's how it works.
Let me go ahead and just give a quick update for you for the Nexus Cats. They did a domination on Backbone. They had the same dominations tied. I was warming the bench once again, cheering on my team, and it was just it was a technical showdown for them. So shout outs to my team there. Also, I was casting yesterday. I don't know if any of you guys saw that. Yeah, me doing some knowledge.
Did you wear the suit?
I actually wore this exact same suit. So
I've done 4 or 5
As
casts, but
expected.
apparently no one's noticed.
So I try and switch it up. This is the first time I've worn this on Nexus Edge, but yes, I did wear it yesterday. So I take it off after I cast it, etc., etc. So.
And who did you cast yesterday, Turd?
That was Plugwalk versus Dat Task, though, out of Division C. Went to a full Game 3. It was an absolute privilege. Game 3 got real spicy. So if you guys haven't seen that, go ahead and check it out. A lot of fun this week from me.
Yeah, those should be 2 pretty top teams in that division. So
yeah, and they're both, after this game, I think they're both sitting right on the cusp of some playoff berths. So they'll definitely see each other again. Last thing for me, I got some practice in. I was playing Heroes of the Storm this week.
Hey!
Nice.
Just some quick match, but, still playing some
Better
games.
than nothing.
Yeah, which is my usual report, so thought it was worth bringing up. All right, guys, we actually have a little special topic today. This is going to be the Maiev Minute by Mongoose. Mongoose, are you there?
I am here.
Welcome to Nexus Edge. You're one of our research analysts doing some behind-the-scenes kind of ninja math work. Why don't you introduce yourself here?
I'm Mongoose. I am a sub on Arrogant Nephilim. I play 3 heroes pretty much, and one of them is mine.
One of them is Maiev. Nice. So, why don't you give us a quick... why should people watching this be interested in running Maiev?
Well, the big reason you want to run Maiev is that she controls the field. Even when she's not doing the most damage, she puts people in positions where they don't want to be, and your team can dominate them. A good Maiev play will wipe out the other team and put your team in the position to win, whereas a bad Maiev play costs you the game.
Puts your team in the exact opposite position.
And teams in NGS know this. Maiev, more than any other hero, she has been banned 2.5 more times than she has been played. 97 games she's been banned compared to 38 games played. The closest hero to that is Zeratul, who only has 81 games banned and 47 games played. That's 1.7 more bans.
Wow, that's crazy. Do you Ziltoid, Mongoose, do any of you guys play Maiev?
Yeah, I do.
You play Maiev? Are you agreeing with Monkus here? Hero to watch, hero to play?
I mean, she's very dependent on, team's experience with it and the players themselves.
Yeah.
Monkus, I'm pretty sure, plays Maiev a lot more than I do, but if the enemy team does have a lot of good games on it and a lot of practice with the hero, it is something scary to go into. So you'll notice it's probably also banned a lot because it's banned a lot in higher levels of play, which there's lots of heroes like that where they tend to play in like Div S and heroic division, that in the right hands can just be game changing. So Maiev definitely is up there on that list, just like Zeratul, and I'm not surprised by her ban rate.
I actually did the research on that. Division A and Division B have the most bans for Maiev. They have 26 games each.
Yeah, they ban it, but don't play it as much, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, she's not played a lot in general because she gets banned so often.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, any last kind of thoughts here for us, Monkus, on the Maiev hero?
Well, you have 3 builds that you can go with her. I personally think one is better than the other, but she's really, really high skill cap and really, really feast or famine. You can deal more damage than most ults if you get knife resets, but you deal basically 0 if you don't get any. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Monkus. This is a very good segue. Ziltoid over here has been running a brand new segment out of Nexus Edge, something a little bit separate but still part of the team. It's called Nexperts. And my understanding is that you guys are going to be sitting down talking a little bit more in depth about Maiev. So that's definitely something we should be seeing in the future, right, guys?
Yep, I'll be going into exactly why I think one build is superior and also more in depth of the stats on how she gets banned across the different divisions.
Perfect. Thanks a bunch for being here, Monkus, and thank you, Ziltoid, for taking care of the Nexperts segments. And I know you already have posted to the NGS YouTube channel, and we'll have a link below here. Celeb Gaming met on Mephisto. You sat down with him, and you guys went through a Mephisto rundown, what makes him a good hero in that level play. And I think you also have a Ryokai and Sylvanas video.
Yeah, nice and spicy. I'm also wanting to try to get to some other roles too as well, like offlane and tank and support. So I'm hoping throughout the season I can get a lot of high-level players to come out and talk about specific heroes and give people some advice on builds, on meta, on what they bring to a team, how you should draft them, what maps they're good on. I even like to wrap up a lot of stuff with like kind of practice habits and stuff like that. So if you're wanting to level up your game, I'm trying to talk, I'm trying to get the people that help the competitive community get better, get that information out there. And the first interview with Met is really, really good. He's got lots of great information. Check it out. And trust me, the Ryokai one is just as good. So you guys I'm sure will really enjoy it.
Very nice. And if you want any low-level Rhaegar play tips and tricks, just let me know. I'll be sure to sit down and give you everything I know about the hero.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, thank you. That's all I ask. All right, guys, let's move into the meat and potatoes of the show. We got some trending teams, trending players, and trending heroes. Ziltoid, start us off. Heroic Division, what teams did well this last week?
There was only one matchup this last week, which was Celeb Gaming versus Montreal Style Bagels.
Okay.
As expected, Celeb Gaming won. I'm going to highlight, though, the second game was the scariest composition I've ever seen in my life. It was just, oh my gosh. So Alterac, and we'll actually talk a bit about, they took Sylvanas, actually speaking of Sylvanas, on Alterac, and actually Ryokai, we'll see, just to give a little bit of a tidbit in there, identifies as that one of her just best maps. And if you watch that game, you'll see I casted it. I actually ended up casting that same matchup with Moist Weenus. So check out the VOD. We had a lot of fun, and it was a really good cast. But
So
anyways,
what made it the scariest composition ever?
so it was Abathur, Karazim,
Okay.
Muradin, Sylvanas, and Samuro. So basically, and I don't think that Hunter CJ either one, A, missed a Stormbolt, or B, there wasn't a kill that was a result of it. Every single Stormbolt he landed ended in a death, and it was just like they almost ended the game in 8 minutes, but of course it's Alterac, and you have to have 2 keeps down to be able to actually kill the core. And then they did it. Then they went back in again at minute 12, or like basic 12 minutes, and finished the game off. It was just super fast. It was just, I mean, it was just amazing.
It's a spicy match to go back and watch.
You should watch it. Oh yeah, it was insane. I should have clipped some highlights from it actually. Now that I feel bad about it because we didn't actually take a look at it, because there are some crazy plays in that game.
Well, it sounds like the whole match is a highlight, so we can't have that on the highlights.
It's true. It's true. Go watch it. It was really good. Game 2 was fantastic.
What about Division A, or is there anything else out of Division?
Well, I mean, if we're just talking about just games that played last week, nothing else really happened in Heroic. Yeah. As far as Div A goes, PFM ended up losing again, so it looks like they're not staying at that top spot like they have been. We've kind of solidified our top kind of 2 standings right now, with Ferrets getting the win over Queen's Consorts. Also another really good set. We should have, we were kind of expecting it to be a bit tighter, but Ferrets has been, they've been a team that I've been watching a lot this season in Div A, and they just continue to look better and better every game.
Right.
So right now, them and Nobo are the top 2 teams that are undefeated in the division. It'll be interesting when those 2 go up against each other, because I think that's probably going to be the spiciest match of the season for Div A. Everybody else is super, super close. So, but yeah, check out the Ferrets Queen Consort game. It was a 2-0, very strong showing from Ferrets, that matchup for sure.
And real quick on Div A, so Mr. Shimada himself, Hanzo, is the most played hero out of Division A as of Thursday's last Stats of the Storm update, with 23 games, but he's only got a 39.1% win rate. So what's going on there with Hanzo? Anyone have any insights into that? Mongoose?
My guess would be maybe the teams at the bottom of the divisional standings are the ones prioritizing him a little bit. It could be not a reflection on the hero, but maybe the teams in the division that are actually playing him.
Not the tool, but the player?
Yeah. And I'm actually looking at these Div A standings, man. The middle of the standings, like Nobo and Ferrets pulling ahead a little bit, but really 1 through like 9 or 10, any of those teams can take games off each other. Division A is really fun to watch right now.
It is super stacked, and everyone is really close. Arguably, like the closest division I think there is. I don't know. Do you guys have any insights on that? I don't know.
One of them.
Yeah, sure. One of them, if not the one, for sure. All right, let's move on to Division B. Wono, help us out. What do we got from Division B?
Division B is still largely dominated by 2 teams that we've kind of talked about week in and week in and week in, and that's Ghillie Shark on the east and Virtual Murky Slayers on the west. Both teams currently posting undefeated records, haven't dropped a single map in their respective divisions, and going forwards, I expect them to remain pretty strong. Division East is looking, or B East is looking pretty tight near the top, even with Ghillie Shark kind of running away with it a little bit. And interestingly enough, a game between them and third place Minion Miners, who's only behind them by 2 points right now, is coming up this week. So yeah, I expect that to be a really good game, a game to highlight, and definitely kind of will either solidify Ghillie Shark as the team to beat in B East, or shake things up a little bit near the top.
Absolutely. I was going to highlight that later on in the matchups of the week. That's just going to be a really, really good one to watch this week. I've been looking forward to it all season. I've been saying, is that coming up this week? Is that coming up this week?
Finally here.
It's finally here. Finally, this could be a preview of what we're going to see over in Division B East, championships. We'll see. So what about Division B West?
Yeah, over on B West, Virtual Murky Slayers is starting to run away with the division a little bit. They've got 5 matches played, 5 dominations, so 15 points for the boys at VMS. Next closest would be mine and Ziltoid's team, Logical Decision, sitting at 10 points. So same amount of games played, a decent amount behind. I don't know if we'll be able to catch him by the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then right below us, 10 Armor and Arrogant Nephilim, who actually played each other this week. Tied in points. I believe 10 Armor came out on top.
Yes.
But did anyone cast those games?
Negative. I'm trying to get them replay casted, but from what I hear, they were fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that set. It went to 3 games, quite close. So hopefully that gets.
Actually, yeah. Mongoose, are you still here?
I am.
Was that a spicy match? Is that one that we're gonna have to watch?
Oh Lord, yeah.
No spoilers, but I think we know how it went. All right, thanks, Monka. Sorry to bring you back here. Anything else out of Division B West?
Off-brand Cereal is, despite being Ziltoid's pick to win the division, they're kind of they're just having fun.
Doing their best to prove me wrong is what they're doing.
Exactly. They saw that first week prediction and they're like, you know what, Ziltoid? Screw you, we're tanking this division.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, they're just out there.
They're having fun.
Murky Slayers.
That's what I got from them.
Number one.
I don't know. Hey, I think Logical Decision can take out VMS. And I know I haven't plugged our team a lot this season, but VMS has been really strong because a lot of teams are letting them get what they want. They don't play exactly meta. They have a few specific pocket picks on each one of their players. And I think if teams, not just us, start removing some of those power picks that they've got, they're definitely beatable, 100%. Something to let you know there, Mongoose. I can give you some hints there.
I already know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yep.
And anyways, just to wrap up B West, the rest of the division I feel is one of the closest and tightest divisions that we have. The standings may not directly represent that right now, but just comparing like our team at number 2, Mongoose's team, Regen Blue, at number 9. We're the second place team, but we lost to Regen Blue. Regen Blue has the opportunity to take games off any of the teams here, and I think that's true of basically teams 1 through 9 or 10 can really, whoever shows up on that day and plays their best game is going to take it.
Yep, for sure.
There you go. Moving on to Division C, Mongoose. You're going to go ahead and cover this one for us. What are we seeing over on Division C East?
Well, Division C East has been kind of spicy. It's very tight at the top, 1 through 5 within 3 points of each other, and that's Calculated Throw, Almost Legends, Regen Red, the Found Vikings, and Winky Face. And if you look at any of the matches between any of those 5 teams, they've all been pretty tight. Really, the only outer liar is Found Vikings sitting at 4th, more of a reflection of they haven't played as many matches as the other teams, and they are still sitting undefeated. But all of those sets between all of those other squads have been 2-1, very close, very tight sets. So C East, particularly at the top, is very, very close. On the flip side, C West, Ginormous Jaegers. I have to make sure I say that slowly to get it right. Pulling away just a little bit, sitting at the top of the division, 3 points ahead. But 2 through 6 only separated, actually 2 through 7 only separated out by 3 points, and Dat Tasto only 1 point behind that. So really outside of Ginormous Jaegers, everyone else is super, super close. So those teams in the middle there are going to really start duking it out. And I think it's going to go all the way down to the end until we see the playoff picture really coming into focus with these guys.
Absolutely. And going back over to Division C East, we had Team Winky Face playing Calculated Throw, and I think, did Winky Face pull it off? I couldn't find the results, but that was B-Train, who was on here last week.
Yes, he did. I remember because I casted Div S with him, and he was very happy about it.
Yeah, well, there you go. So shout out to our guest panelist last week, just using that Nexus Edge luck. You got
he seemed to be actually more hyped that they banned out Chen against actually winning the game.
Well, he actually got to play Chen in game 1, and then he got banned out in game 2.
The little victories, man. The little victories.
So, and I know he was doing work on his B-step numbers. So
he was.
Yeah, there you go.
Convinced Stats of the Storm is not accurate, that his number should be way higher in the B-Step department.
He would say that, wouldn't he? All right, moving right along over to Division D East. That's my division. Nexus Cat's still at the top there, number 2, tied with Frankfurters. Frankfurters obviously getting the tiebreaker because they beat us. Not bitter about that at all. But right behind those two teams, it's just like you guys were saying. It's anyone's game in that division. Backbone, Full Meta Jacket, Lucidology, Probius, Olaf and the Sweaty Bandits, 2 Calculated, 2 Throw, all within 2 points of each other. One of those teams beating someone above them, and there you go. You're right on top again. So it's Division D East is surprisingly very close, very competitive, even at the top. So that's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, we had the Thursday night showdown this week coming out of Division D East. That was Frankfurters and Lucidology. I think Frankfurters took it in 2, so they did get a domination on that. So otherwise, that was a very good game. Moving on over to Division D West, we have another, I think this is our last undefeated team, Pigeon Stitches, carrying the division with 4 dominations. But then right behind them, again, another close division, Clouded Minds, Asmo Carry, Sack of Bricks, all within 2 points of Pigeon Stitches. So definitely some interesting things happening at Division D, and worth watching, even though they're the lowest division here. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Anyone have some trending players from their division? Ziltoid, anyone that you saw this week that we should keep an eye on?
I mean, it's kind of hard to not talk about, obviously, Met and Slip from Slip Gaming. They continue to dominate that division, so I'll just kind of leave them out of it for the most part when we're talking about the Assassin players. Roger continues to be a really high performing player. Tracer also for Abusement Park is very good. So, those are definitely, the fact that we only had 1 game last week means that not a lot of things have changed up since the week before that. So, it's kind of hard to really highlight anybody differently. But, yeah, so I mean, we'll see how it kind of goes out through the rest of the season. And coming up next week, since we do have Revive Esports taking on Celeb Gaming, it'll be interesting to see if any of those numbers kind of change up. But I doubt it.
What
Div A. Div A is kind of more the same again. Rexpa and Richard Gere still kind of topping the kills department in that division. Bernie Byrne still, maintaining a super, super high average healing, 83,000 or 9 games, which is just nutso. And then Star Fox 64 at 104 B steps, clearly the best player in the league. There isn't anybody that's matching him in that department, and that's clearly the most important stat. So yeah, there you go, Heroic and Div A.
Glad you're talking about the B steps. Whoa, no. What about Division B? What do we got B steps over there? Anything?
Yeah. So working off of Chaotic Order from NUES's work here, he posts a weekly update in the Division B chat. So I'll just kind of go over that for everyone here. He does highlight B steps actually, and that goes to Taco Cat from TTW. Taco Cat's the support player there. It says 12 as B steps. So if you ask B Train, I think those sound like amateur numbers. I think Division B, we need to work on our B steps a little bit more because clearly we play things a little too nicely here.
Yep.
A brewer too from Virtual Murky Slayers has the best kill death ratio in the league at 49. So, or KDA, I guess is a better way to put it. Midnight Haze from 10 Armor, highest damage per minute. 3,865. Minion Miners player New Flash, highest healing per minute, 3,908. And Stark from Gilly Shark, most deaths or damage per death taken, I worded that horribly. Most damage taken per death at 139k. So all 4 teams that we've highlighted already, those players, Virtual Murky Slayers, 10 Armor, Minion Miners, and Ghillie Shark. Not a surprise that the players that are currently topping stats in League are coming from some of the best teams in the division.
Makes sense. Mongoose, what do we got trending players out of Division C? Anything?
That's a good question. I'll probably pass it back to Wono because he actually has Stats of the Storm open where I don't. But I will give you 2 eyeball test ones. One, clearly ahead, the self-proclaimed B-Step winner is B-Train with 857,000 B-Steps this season. Just ask him, he'll tell you. Eyeball test number 2, shameless plug, Shui on Regen Red has been really playing fantastic the last couple weeks. So shout out to those guys. But if you want real stats and actual facts, Wono is going to give you those.
Do we want those, Wono?
Bold of you to assume I have Stats of the Storm open right now. But however, I do have Hemibo's post from last week. So Hemibo pulling out some stats from Div C. Highest KDE or KDA going over to Sailor Sky out of the Found Vikings at 42. Highest damage per minute going to Tea Time. He's not tagged, so I am not actually sure. I don't recognize the name Tea Time. If anyone knows what team he's from.
I think they were on DatTas, though.
Highest heals per minute also going out to Sailor Sky, so double shout out to you, Sky. 4,566. B-Train still locking down those B-Steps at 14. And
wait. I thought it was 8,000 something. This is outrageous.
You know, I think just the mathematical formula that Stats of the Storm uses to calculate doesn't quite correlate to just how quickly B-Train can put out those B-Steps. Something just doesn't quite equate there, so we'll say he's roughly going into week 5, probably about 9,000 by now.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Easy numbers.
Yeah. All right, and then rounding out Division D, do want to point out a quick little stat, anomaly. Blue side wins 50.7% of the time. So Division D, if you want to get those wins, start getting on the blue side. That's the only thing that can come out of that number. Looking at actual stats that might matter, most kills, we have Boggs coming from Frankfurters. Best KDA, that guy on Nexus Cats. So I always like to shout him out. Highest average damage, attack power. That is what highest average damage is, but that is also his name, coming from OC Peach Boys. Highest average damage soak is Tiny from Peach Boys. So definitely putting in the numbers there. Highest average healing is, oh boy, I'm going to mess this name up. Galdriice?
Galdry, yeah.
Galdriice out of 2 calculated 2 throw. Getting into the fun stats, we have B-Steps. We have Stixa coming to us out of Sack of Bricks with 43. So, he's not having trouble getting his B-Step numbers calculated out. And then here's a really good stat. Most sprays. The leader is Arthanau with 35. Second place, Lulu with 34. That guy with 34. And Shadowguard with 24. Any pattern you could see from those teammates? Oh, might have just spoiled it. All coming out of the Nexus Cats. Just spraying it down. And then this is the most ridiculous stat I think I've ever seen. This is Stixa, again, coming from Sack of Bricks. Most dances at 470. I don't know if he's actually playing the game. He's just B-stepping and spraying and dancing. Second place. So I was like, what does this mean in a vacuum, right? Second place is Lord Zool out of Noodle Fiasco with 196. So
even that's an impressive number, honestly.
Division B, what are you guys doing? But I would
spending too much time playing the game and not enough time dancing. Spraying, and B-stepping.
There we go. So anyways, shout out to Stixa for topping B-steps and dances. I know he's very proud. He messages me quite often to ask me what his numbers are. So shout out to him. I thought I'd give him a nice little plug there. So any before we move on, let's just round this out. Any interesting like hero type things coming out of division or out of your divisions? Ziltoid, go ahead and start it out.
Yeah, popularity wise, Zeratul is 100% involvement every game.
Really?
13 bans and 7 games played with a 5-2 record, so that'll tell you why. So yeah, out of all the matches played, he's definitely a scary hero. And guess who's right behind him? Maiev, with also 100% popularity rate. 16 bans, 4 games played, and 3-1. So out of the 4 games she's played, she's won almost all of them.
Yep.
75% win rate, which again, I'm pretty sure justifies that ban rate there pretty easy. Top support is Anna with 9 games played, 9 games banned, and she's at about a half and half though, 55.6% win rate. And Anubarak has taken the top spot in popularity, as well as win rate for main warriors at 85% popularity, 9 games played, 8 bans, and 5-4 record. And then for offlane, it's a little bit funky because offlane, Abathur's played a lot, so you don't get a lot of warrior offlane because of that. With Abathur at a 65% popularity rate, but he's been banned pretty much every single game. Quite literally, he's 11 bans and 2 games played. He won both games. So no surprise there. And you know who has the exact same statistic? Genji. Also 11 bans, 2 games played, 2 wins. So, and one that's kind of crap in the bed in top, which will be an interesting statistic. Orphea has a 55% involvement rate. She's been banned 2 times. She's played 9 games. She's 2-7, 22% win rate.
Oh wow,
It's just terrible.
She's producing the highlight reels, but not the wins.
Yeah, straight up. I would say the strongest
spoiler alert. Yeah,
warrior offlaner being played right now is Dahaka with a 75% win rate. He's been in 4 games, banned 4 times, and he's 3-1. So. Really, the offlane is super spread out across heroic division, though. Right. So that's not all that surprising. Now, looking at A, if Stats of the Storm decides to cooperate, click the button.
Well, I know our research analyst out here, Key, has pulled up some
I guess I could just use that stuff, shouldn't I?
Yeah, and it also looks like, same as Heroic, that Maiev and Zeratul are leading the top bans.
Yeah, I'd like to see some percentages on that, so just give me a second.
Yeah, no worries. Why don't we move on to Woe on Division B, and we'll come back to you.
Exactly. That sounds good.
Yeah. I don't have anything quite as in-depth as Ziltoid, but 2 heroes who see a decent amount of play in other divisions have yet to be played in Division B at all. Those 2 being Abathur and Kerrigan. Abathur probably the little bit more surprising one. Kerrigan still, while good, a little bit more niche. Abathur, though, is rocking a 20.7% ban rate. So Abathur banned out in a little over 1/5 of the games being played in Division B. Maybe true to our namesake, we'll play him. Maybe we'll let him through. I don't know. But for now, Abathur remains the unplayed hero in Division B.
I don't know if it's not updated yet, but we actually did play him on Monday. It was part of the beatdown that VMS put on us, so maybe the Stats of the Storm couldn't calculate how one-sided that game was. They just decided to leave.
Just a statistical anomaly and just
right. They're like, nah, that doesn't seem right.
That's it. That's all we can explain. Yeah. Anything else out of Division B, or should we go back to Ziltoid?
No. One more quick stat is top win rate in the division right now. Ana has an 80% win rate over 15 games, so hero with a high win rate over a lot of games. And she's also the most banned hero in Division B right now. So Ana seeing a lot of play, a lot of wins, and a lot of bans.
Very nice.
Banana.
Ziltoid, bring us back to Division A. What were the numbers on Maiev and Zeratul?
So, they're banned a lot, but hardly played. So, 26 bans apiece. So quite, more than half the time they're out of there.
Yeah.
And 6 games on Zeratul with 4-2 record, and 4 games on Maiev with the 2-2 record. So not quite as scary looking, just because of the bands, kind of like Heroic Division, but still definitely something that people are watching out for in those top areas. Ana is still the most popular healer in Div A, just like in Heroic. Though the win rate's not nearly as good, it's 43.8%. She's banned 18 times, played 16 games, and a 79 win record. For the tanks, Anubrak continues to be strong. He's not as popular as Diablo, though. Diablo is being banned a lot more frequently, with 24 bans, actually. But still 17 games, 10-7, 58.8%. Clearly Div A. Diablo is still a very strong pick. But Anubrak is a 69.2% win rate. At 9-4 win-loss, 13 games played in 16 bans. So he's definitely creeping up there into the first pick, first ban area in the top 2 divisions, which I don't think anyone's too surprised about. Orphea is actually not bad in Division A with the 50% win rate, 14 games played, 7-7. So
yeah, we all know why that.
Still not like the top, but definitely like you said, just it does come down to specific players, and I think there's still a bit, once you if the top teams like Sled Gaming or Amusement Park aren't playing Orphea and all the other teams are, it kind of makes sense on why the win rate is the way it is.
That,
yeah, and then Abathur continues to be banned 13 times, has only played 2 games and is 1-1 in Div A. So a few trends you can definitely poke out of this division in particular. That has a lot of similarities to Div A, but the numbers are to Heroic, but the numbers are just a little bit different. And I think that's because it is a lot more teams and it's more competitive.
There we go. Mongoose, do you got some hero stats for us out of Division C?
I do, actually. Ziltoid was so incredibly thorough, and while that was going on, I downloaded the database and got it up, so I was ready to go. So, thanks, Ziltoid. You're the man.
I talk a lot. It's all, you can always rely on that.
Yeah.
So, starting with the supports in Division C, 3 standing out. Popularity, Stukov, Ana, and behind a little bit is Tyrande. But the 2 I want to focus on, the Stukov and the Ana. Wono mentioned Ana just crushing it in Division B. In Division C, far and away more bans, but only rocking a 42% win rate.
Interesting.
Stukov, on the other hand, top popularity, also top win rate, sitting at 56% out of the support. So Stukov killing it down in Division C. As far as the assassins go, it is a mage meta, because the top 3 most popular assassins, number 1, Kael'thas, number 2, Jaina, number 3, Asmodan, he's an assassin, people, and number 4 is Gul'dan. Win rate, though, Gul'dan, 64%, eclipsing far and away the second highest win rate, which is Kael'thas. But in my opinion, as a tank player, the most interesting numbers are coming out of the tank department, because the 3 most popular heroes across all roles are tanks. Anubarak, 81% popularity. Johanna, 79% popularity. Diablo, 79% popularity.
Oh, wow.
Anubarak, 38% win rate. Ooh. Diablo, 51% win rate. And brace yourselves, Johanna, 67% win rate as the second most popular hero in the entire division. Johanna killing it in Division
Play Joanna,
C.
win games.
Yeah, and not even close to top bans either. I mean, she's definitely got a few of them with 28, but I mean, looking at ban numbers, 41, 41, 30. So she's number 5 in bans and far and away number 1 in win rate. As far as heroes with any numbers in games played.
Absolutely. And I'll just round it out real quick here with Division D. So this is overall all 4 weeks we've had. Most popular hero is Kael'thas. 80.6% of games have touched a Kael'thas. He's only been played 11 times, but he's been banned 43 times. Just Division D out here just doing the team league meta, I think.
He's Salami Man, right? Deli guy?
Yeah. Deli guy, yeah. And real quick, most played hero is Raynor, 31. Joanna, 30. So those are both pretty darn good. Oh, and here's another stat. Most banned, obviously Kael'thas. Second most is Asmodan. So they're just bringing that low gold, silver meta.
Team League meta.
Yeah. Which is fine. This is how the game is played in Division D.
And I mean, there's a reason that those heroes are banned at that level, is they have high impacts in games that are, I don't want to say less coordinated, but where
that is what it is.
Yeah,
That's what
less
it is,
coordinated, and teams are more likely to group up, spreading the bomb damage, getting hit by those Asmo dunks, taking those flame strikes.
Yeah,
so those two heroes
if
can
get
put out
bombs and gloves, then it's
a
those
lot of AoE damage really quickly, which is
You can
impactful in those
You
divisions.
can add Stukov to that list too for the same
Right.
reason. Pumping up for the big lurking arm. It's the same thing. Kind of the lower down the elo you go, the more impactful Stukov is that way.
Absolutely.
And Johanna's going to survive overextended longer than all the other tanks, which makes sense. Like Anubrak can't possibly go in these divisions because he's just going to get ripped apart by all the Rainer picks.
Yeah, basically. Okay, real quick. Anything, so league-wide for hero picks, anything of interest that we should note here? Wono, why don't you help us out?
Are we talking just this week specifically?
Just this week specifically.
Yeah, so since we started doing this week is the first week that Tyrande has kind of dropped out of the top 10 most picked heroes and most popular,
most
popular heroes, which is very interesting to me because since her rework, she's kind of sat top dog, first or second slot for supports. And she's been eclipsed by Ana and Stukov coming back into popularity there as the two supports that make the top 10.
And Mongoose, what do we have to say about the overall tank picks for this week?
I mean, it's all about, and not just this week, but it's been really all about all season. The Diablo and the Anubarak. Where's those numbers he put up there? I know they're here somewhere. Oh, I got them right here. Yep, there it is. I didn't even look, and I got it right. Diablo 1, Anubarak 2. Johanna, though, coming in third. But really all season, not just this week, Diablo and Anubarak have really been just top of the tank meta generally, and very high in the meta overall. Lots of bans, high participation rate in NGS and in good old fashioned team league. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that those two are probably 1A in some order, Diablo and Anubarak overall.
And you also see little Gary Garage sneaking up there at the number 9.
Yeah, he's kind of hovering around the bottom, but that win rate is betraying him at 42% down there.
Win rate's also hovering around the bottom.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. I think that's all we have to mention on trending stuff. So moving on to the next topic, we have our Streamer of the Week, and it's my absolute pleasure to announce that this week is Marczombie. This was chosen not by me, not by Arthanow. This was chosen by Jason. So just making sure he gets all the credit that's due. This guy has been absolutely killing it this week. He had 5 games in the past 5 games in the past week and a half, and he had 4 games in the last 5 days. So this guy is just, if there's a game on a night when he's available, he is casting it. And if you've tuned in, very interesting. He is a technical guy. He's our shot caller, so he's able to make those calls for the team fights. I had the pleasure of casting with him last night, so Saturday night in that match, and he's a really good caster. A lot of fun to be with on stream, and shout out to him. So have any of you guys caught one of his streams this week?
Yes, definitely. I didn't catch it live because I was in it, but Marczombie did catch or cast our game against Off-Brand Cereal, so I made sure to go back and rewatch those VODs afterwards. And I caught a bit of him. He was casting the PFM game in Division A this week as well, so I think I caught the back half of that one.
Yeah, and one thing, he's got a lot of friends in life so he's actually live dual casting with his friends. I live in a different area than, but most of his other casts this week were with him and one of his friends sitting right next to him. So you really get that chemistry out of it. So shout out to you, Mark. If any of you want to check out his stream, which I highly, highly, highly recommend, go ahead. We'll have a link down below. And keep an eye out for his casts going forward if you have the fortune of having him cast one of your games. So, all right. With that, we're moving on to our very favorite segment. It is the top 5 highlights of the week, chosen by us, and, I don't know, enjoyed by everyone. How about that?
Chosen by us, you get no say in it.
Yeah. These are some very top-notch type choices today, so let's get right on into it with our number 5 pick. We're going to call it the Caster Curse. Show the clip.
Over Duritan's couch. Maybe. I mean, I've seen weirder things happen. They are coming up, but I think it's going to be too little too late. Or is it? Oh my goodness. What just happened? I put the Caster Curse on Team Training Wheels.
All right. The Caster Curse is real. Mongoose, as the Curse Master himself, what do you have to say for yourself?
I have to say that I'm sorry to Team Training Wheels, but also I didn't notice this in the live, but when I went back and rewatched, huge thumbs up to Wedge. All of the damage reduction on Leoric Spooky Walk saved that core and allowed those guys to come back and counter wipe and win. So fantastic play there.
And Nexus Edge is a big fan of the counter wipes, so that one, of course, making its way onto the. And moving on right ahead, we have number 4 with all the boop things. Show the clip.
They're coming out from PFM. However, the concussion mine into the toss, into the Warlord's challenge, into the Groundbreaker. Mudge finally goes down.
Just hitting those boop on back over to the tower, getting the ETC kill. So pretty classic use the buttons kind of move there. Good job, guys. Moving on to number 3. So I can't believe it's not Rexpa. Show the clip.
Duritan's couch really pushing in on this mid lane. A huge flank from Wedge, and they land on a Tyrande. She is not getting out of this. Neither is Garrosh. What a play.
And, of course, Mongoose was alluding to the reel here, so we had a nice little Orphea pick going on here. Real nice. Moving on, we have number 2. It's O Syndragosa. Show the clip.
What do you think Arthas is going to pick? Are they... Oh, I guess we know now.
Oh, Syndragosa.
Oh, dirty. I like it. Look at this tight rotation here. Looking to flank Disturbance,
Ooh.
and there goes Syndragosa, and they do get a kill on Zeratul and Zul'jin. And it's going to be 3 for Varian. My goodness. He had a family.
And for our final pick, number 1, just focus core, guys. Show the clip.
Get to core.
That's the Leo coming up in like a second.
We have 3 katas on the core. We can protect them.
I can't stun that. Got it.
Dead.
We're not on the core, guys. Arthas is dead.
Oh.
Ah!
Card focus core. Card just focus core. Catas.
Yes! Oh my god. So another map. Tomb of the Spider Queens. Getting on the core, and they're able to do it. So Ziltoid, what'd you think?
Well, I actually watched this game when it was going through, and it was super back and forth, kind of one side to the other side to one side to the other side, and you're just kind of waiting for this game to finally figure it out. And they finally they just decided, hey, look, catapults are in the bottom lane, let's just go for it. And if you scream enough, it'll work out.
Well, and that's just it. One of the nice things about this one, actually a point of view stream that we were able to acquire here on Nexus Edge using our strong arm muscle. and Mongoose was able to get it for us. So appreciate it, Mongoose. What did you think of the clip?
I think the end of that is, to me, why we all play in NGS and Organized Heroes of the Storm. Those moments with your team where you're just so pumped, hyped about that. Those guys were so excited, and it's really cool to see how stoked those guys were. I mean, casts are always great. I was the caster that game, but those guys' excitement is way better than anything the casters could convey over that.
Absolutely. Well, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think a clip like this is super relatable because all of us playing competitive HOTS have all been in those situations where someone makes a core call and we're all hitting the core and the enemy starts respawning and things get a little crazy and you're trying to keep track of everything that's going on and someone just over the top just hit the core! Hit the core! And
it works.
And yeah, being able to watch one of those situations it's really fun. It's really special. The guys at Regen Red did a great job closing that game out.
Absolutely. All right, I think that wraps it up for the highlights. Great job, everyone. Make sure to send us your highlights for next week. We keep an eye on them, and we'll make sure that they make our way in the show if they're worth it. So keep them coming, guys. And real quick, we wanted to touch on the next segment, which is the patch notes. So I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember exactly when they came out. We got 2 big news heroes getting a little bit of a rework. So, well, I'm going to pass it on over to you because I think you know that I know.
I know that you know. Do I know?
Exactly about what you're going to talk about. Go ahead and break it down for Lucy.
Oh!
This is one that I'm real excited for. With full disclosure, I haven't been able to test them out on the PTR yet. I've just hovered over the patch notes a handful of times to try and wrap my mind around what's changing, what's going to happen. So I don't have any concrete evidence that this is in fact a buff or good for him. That being said, there's quite a few things that I'm really excited about coming in this Lucio rework.
That being said, they moved his ult to a number 7 talent.
I was going to say, that was coming up number 1. Reverse Amp, already my favorite ult. My team flamed me for taking it every time, but so much fun with that ability.
Yeah,
I know. Now it's actually looking like maybe the pick, although it does have to compete with Boombox, which I still believe is going to be at 7. Another good talent just for vision, for... Wards are so strong like that, and controlling vision, we all know, is so strong. Probably another big thing to mention is since his ult moved to 7, he has a new heroic, High 5, which, from what I've heard, please buff the animation, Blizzard. It's a little underwhelming. But,
what does he do? Can you act it out for us? You don't have to, if you don't want to.
Ziltoid, you're on this side. Can we...
Yeah.
I think you went the wrong side.
Great work, guys.
Yeah.
Production value high.
Finally, Lucio gets a cleanse that's not tied to his level 20. Small heal and a true unstoppable for 1 second. It says 15-second cooldown per allied hero, which, again, I haven't tested, but I believe how it works is that it has a separate cooldown for each hero on your team. So that's 4 charges of cleanse at level 10, which is insane. Absolutely insane. Obviously, if one hero is just getting completely focus fired past the 1 cleanse, there's not a whole lot that Lucio can do. But it kind of makes him almost like Kharazim's 16, those cleansing dashes where Kharazim usually has 3. Lucio now has 4, which is... It sounds broken, honestly.
Well, but between those two, Lucio having to dive in and give the high 5, that's going to be a little bit risky for Lucio to be right in there,
And they did nerf a little bit of his baseline movement speed just to kind of compensate for that. But as a healer, as Lucio, you want to get the most value being not quite tank level front and center, but right up there with your team. So you're kind of in the thick of things, being able to boop and reposition people, giving them the speed, giving them the amp ups. So Lucio already... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, also, they gave him a wall ride push-off, which is just like another boop. So they're just booping all over the place.
So they moved... previously, his trait was just wall riding, but they moved that to his mount key and gave him an actual trait being push-off, which is... If you're wall riding, you can activate your trait to deal some damage and put a heavy slow 75% on for 1 second, which is talentable to be a micro stun, like a half-second stun later on in his tree. So definitely you want to look to being a little bit more aggressive with Lucio to really get value out of him. And I think this rework does do a good job to increase his skill ceiling and make him a high impact support.
I'm really looking forward to it. Actually, the same day that this came out was the day that, spoiler alert, Arthanow said, "Hey, Turd, why don't you warm up Lucio?" And then this came out, and I was just like, "It's Lucio Day today." So I'm really looking forward to this new rework. We'll see what happens. Moving on ahead, though, Chromie, Mongoose, Ziltoid, why don't you guys break it down for us? What's going on with the new Chromie rework?
Well, Ziltoid, if you don't mind, I haven't read the whole Chromie thing, and of course, disclaimer, this is, PTR, paper crafting, you never know until you do it.
Right.
Having said all of those things, level 18 talent, Blessing of the Bronze, passive talent. While Chromie is alive, she and all of her allies gain a 10% movement speed, and their basic abilities recharge 30% faster. In what world did that is this going to get into the game? Because that is broken with a capital B. I cannot stress enough how much I do not want that talent to be in the game, unless it's some kind of maybe heroic up. I mean, like, it has to be a heroic ability that just sounds so unbelievably broken. And that is my completely expert opinion on the complete Romy rework, is that one talent is really dumb.
There we go. Ziltoid, do you agree? Is it super dumb or just kind of dumb?
I think it's going to be the go-to 20 for sure. Looking at what's kind of remaining in the level 20 area, it's pretty much the outperforming talent. I did look over the patch notes. I did test her a bit in the PTR myself, and I did watch Not Paradox's kind of break down it, and he does a really, really good job of kind of pointing out what Chromie has kind of become. Yeah. They did change Time Trap to be inactivatable. That also not only can at level 7 you have the option to they basically it's level 4 or level 7. There's a bunch of Time Trap talents that you get to buff it, and it has positive effects for your allies and negative effects for your enemies. So what's kind of broken about this ability now is not only can it be like a Void Prison sort of thing to set up enemy kills, it is also kind of like a castable Time Trap on your allies and yourself. So you still have time out at level 12 or 14 or whatever you want to call it for her, but I don't even know if you'll need to take it, because you can just cast a Time Trap on yourself and get the same like basic negation at like level 1. And then there's even ones where you can buff your armor, your move speed, all this other stuff out of it. So this rework with Chromie is kind of interesting. Now, it did change it so that her Q no longer passes through minions.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a good and bad thing, in the sense that it's going to be harder for her to hit heroes hiding behind waves, but it's also going to improve both her camping and siege. So she's going to be able to take down structures, and she's going to be able to actually kill camps. So Chromie is now probably, like, with a lot of the rework, and her wave clear too, the W does a 3, like Gul'dan, it hits 3 spots consecutively. Unlike Gul'dan, you can't adjust the width of it or anything like that. But it you can place it like Corruption onto a wave, and it can hit 3. So even at level 1, her wave clear is good. And right now, with certain builds, you can probably stack about 10,000 damage in about 2 seconds. So she has the ability to, if you thought bursting heroes before was insane, good players using Temporal Loop, because it also reduces the cooldowns of her abilities during Temporal Loop. She's going to be able to like cast like 3 Qs in a single session of basically the Temporal Loop cooldown. So I think the skill is going to still be pretty high, though. You still have to be pretty good, like, to actually land everything properly. Yeah. But with but if she's got good like CC setup, I don't see how in any world she is not first pick, first ban material basically as soon as she's released with the rework. Like,
I'm shaking my head. Blizz, please.
Go watch the Not Paradox video, and you'll exactly you'll come out with the same conclusion, going like, this hero is extremely broken. Like,
it's a very early April Fool's joke. It's got to be Blizz, please.
And then just a quick. Go ahead.
Let me throw this out here real quick, Turd. New to this season in NGS, heroes who receive a massive rework will not be available for play once that PTR patch hits this week for 2 weeks. So weeks 5, or at least the latter half of it, once the patch hits, and week 6, Lucio and Chromie will not be eligible for NGS play. So captains and players will get a chance to see how good they are, how hard you need to ban Chromie before week 7 goes around. So nobody's going to be jumping on these heroes and just dumpstering people on Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever that patch is going to go live.
Absolutely, and that was one of the things. As soon as these patch notes came out, as I asked, I think it was all the leadership team. Just, hey, is this going to be? Are we going to have to be banned on this one for 2 weeks? And I was pleasantly surprised that the answer was yes, because these are pretty substantial reworks. Last little rework, and we can spend exactly the amount of time as it takes me to talk on this. Lunara just getting a little something, just something.
It's ridiculous changes for 2 heroes, and then just like a reasonable movement speed thing for Lunara.
Yeah, because why not? I guess.
she's a pretty balanced hero, right? So I mean, I don't mind them not tweaking her too hard, and that's kind of like, here's some reasonability thrown at the end of ridiculousness.
Absolutely. All right, I think that's enough about the patch notes. Let us talk about. Oh, I still need this, so I'm not going to throw it. Let's talk about matchups to watch. Ziltoy, talk to us about matchups coming up in this next week for Heroic and Div A.
So Heroic's going to be kind of a rematch from the week 1 Div S with Revive Esports and Slub Gaming going at it. If you caught the Div S match, it went to, I think, all 5 games or 4 games, so it was still a very tight series. Slub Gaming did come out on top, and I do expect the same result. So that's pretty much what we should be looking to watch for next week. I think it's really the only Heroic game that's scheduled so far, so there you go. And then for Div A, Dread Pirates versus Ferrets. So Dread Pirates is a good team. They had a bit of a roster switch up, but if you caught this last week's matchup, they had some really good synergy play with. I actually casted the matchup as well with Black and Avian, and it was and they had Thrall and Varian, and a lot of synergy with the taunt root, which was used to very great effect in actually both games. So I'd like to see Dread Pirates really kind of come out with this kind of new roster that they've got going, and with the same fire they came out with their previous matchup, and versus Luxorian Sun. Sorry, I should at least put the context there. And then Ferrets, of course, is still undefeated, and they've had a really good season so far. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup, but definitely a game to watch this week for sure.
Absolutely. Wono, bring it down. What should we be watching in Division B?
Well, one of them I already brought up and talked about over in B East is Gilly Shark and Minion Miners. That game has yet to be scheduled, but when it is, look, I'm sure it's going to get grabbed for a cast, because that is going to be one of the highlight games of the season, I believe, for Division B East.
I was so excited about it, I had to talk about it in the last segment.
Over in B West, we have Virtual Murky Slayers going up against 10 Armor, number 1 seed and number 3 seed. 10 Armor dropped their first map against Arrogant Nephilim just this past week, and obviously Virtual Murky Slayer is still undefeated. That game is going on Wednesday on the 27th at 7 p.m. PST, so look forward to seeing if third place 10 Armor can take their first map off of Virtual Murky Slayers.
There you go. And Division C, Mongoose, which matches are you going to watch?
Well, C East, this week, Regen Red has been on a tear. Actually, going into last week, they got 2-2-1s this week, and they were the first team to take out Calculated Throw last week. So in 2 weeks, they've taken out the first and second place team. The only team that has defeated them is undefeated Found Vikings. And this week, they're taking on Winky Face, who's actually been playing really well, too, coming off a big win last week. So two teams that the winner could really vault themselves into, that kind of second, third place range, especially Regen Red. So C East, Winky Face versus Regen Red. That is on the calendar for, I just had it, Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And on the west side, there actually aren't a lot of C games on the calendar. Let me see if I can find a good C West game for us. Nope, there might not be any, actually.
Might not be scheduled yet. Get those games scheduled, people.
And this is your public service announcement to schedule your games earlier so we can promote you here on the Nexus Edge. I actually literally don't think there are any C West games on the calendar.
I see one between Plug Walk and
Can't Pick Stupid. That's the game to watch in C West this week. It's going to be Friday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Can't Counterpick Stupid. One of the top teams in the division. Solid squad, good guys. They're great at calling specific teams out for scrims in the Discord.
Yes, they
are.
So
check those guys out. C West.
Yes. And I'm laughing because they called out the Nexus Cats.
They did.
That Tasso and Rush B are also playing.
Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah.
Ziltoid with the hard-hitting facts. Nice. All right, now moving right ahead, Division D West, Boogan Squad versus Pigeon Stitches. Pigeon Stitches, the last remaining truly undefeated team in Division D, and they're playing Boogan Squad, who have 2 undefeated matches and a Witch Raw disqualification boost. So they have actually 0 losses as well. It's going to be a good match, I think. I don't know exactly when that's being played, so I do apologize. But I really think you should tune into that whenever it is. And then from Division D East, there's not a lot of great matchups to watch. Franksfurter's #1 seed taking on Full Meta Jacket. I believe they're a little bit... pulling that up right now just so I can talk about it competently. Full Meta Jacket is a #4 seed, so that's going to be a match. And then just a little shameless self-plug. Nexus Cats are taking on Olaf and the Sweaty Bandits in their fill-in, their open game on Monday night. It's going to be the first ever Monday night showdown. So when you're watching this, it'll be a little bit later in the day, and you could go ahead and tune on in, see the Nexus Cats take on Olaf and the Sweaty Bandits. 2 teams started in Nexus NGS in Season 5. I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup. So,
yeah, I do too. And I hear one of those casters is pretty mediocre. So turn in to watch Jason and I in the initial Monday night showdown. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I always have a good time watching the Nexus Cats. So I hope you guys do too. Before we end things out here, let's get some questions from the community. So the community really answered the call after last week, popping into #Edge questions in the NGS Discord to ask a whole bunch of questions. What does Weenus look like without a beard? That's a good question. Not going to ask it here, so just wait. Just think about it. What does he look like? But let's get some hard-hitting questions ready to go. And
I think he looks legitimately like an egg when he wears the hat.
No comment. We're going to move on because I don't want to talk about that anymore. So this is a really good question for Mongoose. So Mongoose, you are one of the people that helped with placing people into teams, correct?
That is, well, into leagues, but yes, correct.
Into divisions. Yeah, sorry about that. So this question is there anything better than HOTS to use to separate out divisions for future seasons?
As far as like statistical or MMR data, no. And I don't know how too far down this rabbit hole we want to get, but
very far.
Okay, then MMR with regards to HOTS is one of the tools we use. We kind of use it as a starting point.
Yeah.
And when we do this, we kind of have to break it into 2 groups, and the 2 groups are teams that are new that we don't know anything about. Mm-hmm. Those teams we basically use exclusively HOTS MMR because it's all we have, and the newer teams are the hardest ones to place. Typically, the teams that are grossly misplaced, like there were like 5 last season, those were all new teams, and the reason is we don't have as much data on them, so we don't know where they go. The returning teams, we talk about them a lot. We don't know a lot of scrim results. I mean, there was 87 teams registered this season, so it's just not possible for us to know all the scrim results. But the ones that we do, we take it into account. We took into account how the teams did in Zul'jin Distillery Invitational in the off season. That those guys ran over there was a fun little kind of off season mini league for the kind of C&D teams. We took into account their Heroes Lounge performance if they played in Heroes Lounge last season. So for the new teams, we kind of basically use hot slogs because that's all we have. But for returning teams, we take into account everything that we know about them. If we know how they're scrimming against other teams, we take that into account. We take into account where they were last season in NGS and how well they did. The same thing for Heroes Lounge or any other competitions. We take into account the things that they replied with in the placement surveys that all the team captains had to take. For example, one of the questions was, how competitive do you feel your team's in? And if a team is right on the border, and one of the team's answers was something like, we just get drunk and play HOTS, we tended to, and like, that is good information. If you're literally getting just boozed up on a Friday night and it's like, beer league softball, but for Heroes of the Storm, we would tend to put them in the lower division in which they were on the border. And then we know there are teams that do coaching and replay analysis and scrims and all of those, teams they really want to try hard and get better. Those are the teams that are going to take pride in their placement and want to play the higher level competition. And when we know that about those teams and they reply with that information in the placement survey, those teams, if they're on the border, tend to get bumped up. So there's a lot of it, a lot of information that goes into it. And as the staff that does it, it's a hard thing because that it will never be 100% right. You are going to miss team. Like, there's just no way not to.
Right.
So you always do the best that you can and know that you're going to fail kind of weirdly, if that makes sense.
I, for one, think you guys have done a fantastic job anyways. Like, despite your margin error is super off. Like, there's, I don't think it's ever been tighter in previous seasons. So
it seems like, and we've even talked about it on this episode, it seems like overall the divisions are tight. There might be a team that's in first place ahead of everyone, but then everyone else is very tight. Then you have really competitive matches except for that one, whatever, that's fine. So I really think it's pretty great. Whoa, any comments on that?
Yeah, I personally also agree with the guys here and think that NGS as a whole has done a very good job with the seeding into divisions this season. No division seems to be just like completely unbalanced. There are only a handful of teams who are undefeated, and watching some of those games, I wouldn't say that they're heads and shoulders. Yeah, they're not heads and shoulders like dominating the division. They're playing some close games, and naturally, just the way things go, there's going to be top teams and there's going to be bottom teams in divisions. So overall, most of the games feel competitive. Leagues look good, and I think we did a good job.
So just like a quick follow-up question, in those divisions or where there may be by and afar kind of a leader, what do you think that hurts the competitive spirit for the remaining teams? Is that something that NGS takes into account? Mongoose.
I mean, after the fact, nothing's going to change mid-season placements.
Yeah, right.
But we talked about Off-Brand Cereal. They just dominated Division D last season, and they were one of those teams that was clearly misplaced. And this is kind of a reflection back at that MMR thing. Their MMR, when we were doing placement, still this season puts them in Division D.
Yep.
So obviously we don't look at just that. We bump them to Division B, where they're not winning, but we brushed over this briefly. That's, I think, more of a reflection of how they're approaching the season from a fun factor versus competitive factor than a reflection on their skill as players, because they're good players. But yeah, last season, I'm sure it felt like everybody else in Division D was playing for second place, and that doesn't feel good, of course. But
right.
I don't really know what the answer to it is beyond that. Is we do the best we can, and sometimes those things happen. But by and large, we're satisfied with this season's placements. We actually just did a mid-season update in the channel where we had that, and for the most part, we're pretty happy. I actually think this season there are a couple teams. Last season it was teams getting placed too low and crushing. I think our problem this season. There's a couple teams that were maybe placed actually too high and are struggling. So it was kind of an other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about this season's placement specifically is there was a lot of uncertainty in the leadership staff, given the long NGS offseason, given Heroes Lounge coming over and starting an NA League. And then, of course, the HGC and the Heroes of the Dorm announcement really took the heart out of a lot of the high-end competitive players, and we really weren't sure what the numbers would be when registration ended. We had a couple of different kind of guesses. And the number that we got, 87, was higher than any of our guesses. We were really pleasantly surprised. And furthermore, like slightly tangent here, but we're looking at the Heroes Lounge numbers for season 2. They're healthy. And not only they're healthy, there's only like 20 overlap teams between NGS and Heroes Lounge. That's like 120, 140 amateur teams that want to play between the two leagues. So clearly the appetite is here, and the amateur, non-pro type level is very, very healthy. But the fallout of that HGC announcement was felt at the very high-end teams. We noticed a significantly lower number of the very high-end teams. That's part of the reason Heroic and Division A don't have the bi-coastal split, is there just wasn't that many teams. Right. And the difference between D to C and C to B is really, really narrow. If you go look at those MMR gaps for the divisions, it's really, really tight. And I'm sure some of the top end teams can scrim and take out some of the bottom B teams. So really a lot of those teams could compete up and down a little bit, which made placement this season specifically for those divisions specifically more difficult because all of those teams are really close.
No, and this has been incredible. I'm glad we had you on, and it's been incredibly insightful. I know there's an FAQ on this exact topic.
There is.
I'm sure you've gone over more than what's covered there, but if anyone else is interested, go ahead and do that. You can always ask questions in NGS. People, or in the Discord itself, someone will answer your questions. So thank you, Mongoose, for that answer. Now, moving on to our second question, or I guess our second other question, a little bit less serious. What heroes deserve a rework the most? And we talked about Chromie and Lunara, or sorry, we did talk about Lunara, Chromie and Lucio. Let's say without those two, what, and Chen and Tassadar, I think, have been mentioned, what other heroes need a rework? Ziltoid, why don't you start us out?
I mean, I'm generally happy with a lot of the state of the game, and a lot of some of the hero concepts, especially a lot of the newer ones, have really nailed it in what they've been trying to do for the most part. And I don't have a whole lot that needs to be looked at, except for there's definitely some old heroes that haven't really had any attention for a really long time. Tychus would definitely be one that I would point out that has hardly been touched since the beginning. And he probably needs a little bit more of a definition in the meta outside of just I sometimes kill tanks at shorter range than everyone else in some aspects. So I would say definitely Tychus is one that probably needs a true rework or at least a retuning of some sort to kind of be brought a little bit back into the competitive meta. I'm not really thinking of anything else right at the top of my head, so maybe move on to Woe and while I think about something else.
Whoa, no, give it to us. What hero do you think needs a rework?
Yeah, maybe surprising for some of you, I'm not going to pick a healer or a support. I genuinely think that for the most part, barring a couple maybe tweaks here and there, most of them are in a really good state. A lot of viable supports and healers to pick. Mine is going to kind of come a little bit out of left field. He's a generally decent hero, but my pick's going to go to Alarak. And the reason being is... obviously, he is a deadly hero in the right hands, a contender out of Div C. I think he's rocking 100% win rate on the hero right now in NGS Season 6. But he just epitomizes something that I think is not a very healthy game design in that he is entirely feast or famine with the way his sadism works and the way his trait works. And that's kind of led to being the only real viable build on him right now, being the Lightning Surge build, because it basically doesn't care at all about what sadism level you're at.
Yeah.
So the fact that the build that people are playing him with and the build that is working is one that basically completely flies in the face of his trait just doesn't seem like a very solid design to me. I don't have a great solution. I don't know what would be really in tune with Alarak's character other than that he seems like a jerk, but I think there should be some sort of middle ground between how feast and famine he feels and making his trait feel a little less bad when you're losing, a little better when you're a little better when you're winning, a little less bad when you're losing.
And I'm going to follow that up and say that while I also agree the sport's in a really nice place, I'm going to selfishly say that Morales and Uther, I could like little tweaks would be okay, but I want some big tweaks. I want big tweaks on Morales. She's a personal favorite of mine. And Uther has a skin that makes him look like Morales, so he's also a personal favorite of mine. And I don't think he's had the TLC that some of the other supports have had in a long time. And maybe, just something there I think would be pretty good. I don't have any in-depth thoughts. I thought the Alarak trait, talent choice pick thing was a very good point. I just selfishly want them changed. So, Mongoose, why don't you save me and talk about a hero that needs a rework?
I'm going to echo what Ziltoid and Wono said a little bit, which is I actually think the hero pool meta overall, the heroes are in a good spot. Not so much the gameplay, Blizzard. You need to really take a look at that. But the heroes are in a really good spot. And I actually don't want them to do this hero because I've been perfectly fine with never seeing him. But it's been a long time since Illidan has had a look. I really don't want to see him around at all. But if you look at it objectively, it's been a hot minute since he's been strongly relevant and really looked at. He could definitely use a refresh.
I mean, they tuned Zeratul successfully, so I don't see a reason why they can't look at Illidan at least a little bit.
Well, the reason is nobody wants him to.
We got to get some producer comments in here because I've been summoned. And I got to fully agree. Illidan needs a rework. He needs to be better. He is already the best hero in the game, but he's not good enough. It's been about 10,000 years, but it needs to happen, Blizzard.
You see what you did, Mongoose? You summoned the producer.
Who is that?
Yeah, where is it?
God is speaking from above.
Thank you, Arthanow, for your pick. I knew you were going to come in when he said that. Moving right ahead, let's go into the last Edge question. This one's also kind of a little bit of a goofy question. If you could have one non-murder power from Heroes of the Storm hero, what would it be? Mongoose, start us out.
I live in Los Angeles. Traffic is an issue, so Falstad Flight.
Yep, that would be pretty good.
Good answer.
Just hop from home to work.
Yep, never go on the 405 again.
Yeah. Wono, what non-murder power?
I don't know if this counts as non-murder because it's related to Murder Wing, but Blink Heal specifically with the upgrade Invisible Friends. Because both teleporting with an attached invisibility seems pretty tight.
I'll allow it. And Ziltoid?
Time trap.
Time trap? Just trap everyone?
Oh yeah, I mean I could just be like, boop, I'm done talking to you. Run away. And they can't, and then I'm out. And they won't know what happened because time just stopped.
And I wrote these questions and I can't think of one right now. I was going to say Morales' medevac for the same reason, and then Mongoose comes in and says it. So that would be a really good one. Also, let's go with Orioles Revive. Just keep everyone up, keep everyone alive. It's a good time. Just keep them up.
So I'd like to be Jesus, please.
Mm-hmm.
Turd's response.
Oh, I didn't say it that way.
Resurrection.
Well, now I sound like a pompous butthead. That isn't the reason. It would only be used for doggos.
That's good reason.
That's a good.
Nexus ability revive doggo.
Revive doggo, specifically Barco Polo. I want to make sure he's okay. He's got the little cone on. He's sad. All right. that's going to do it for us, guys. It's been a good old Nexus Edge here. I would like to thank all of our panelists, all of them. So before we go, Wono, where can the people reach you, my friend?
You can find me obviously in the NGS Discord at Wono or on Twitter at WonoHots.
Awesome. Ziltoid, how about you? How can the people find you?
Apparently I have a Twitter.
Very nice.
For a while, and I almost never go there. And it's a really hard one to remember, so it's like at Metal Enceladus. Good luck with that one. You'll never find me.
We're gonna put it down.
Otherwise, you'll catch me in the Discord, and on obviously this show and when I'm casting. So
perfect. Mongoose, where can the people find you?
I am on Twitter, Mongoose __2_, or you're going to find the imposter Mongoose. Also, if it's NGS related, you not only can you find me on the NGS Discord, but you actually cannot get away from me on the NGS Discord. I probably spend more time on that Discord than I do working at work. Don't tell anybody. Shh. And then I do cast on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/mongoose_22, and Monday Night Showdown on the NGS Twitch channel. I'll be there at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
And what team are you going to be showing again? I forgot.
Olaf and the really, really sweaty bandits versus the Nexus Cats.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, extra sweaty just for you guys.
Yeah. All right, and I'm of course Turd Herder. You can find me at Turd Herder Hots on Twitter. You can find me in the NGS Discord. I am also oftentimes on there, oftentimes not working. And I have a Twitch channel. Don't post anything on there, but you can feel free to follow me because I will be there sometimes. All right, guys. This is Turd Herder here saying adios. Remember to stay safe in the Nexus. Take your hots to the edge. See you next time. Before we move on, let's just round this out. Any interesting like hero type things coming out of division or out of your divisions? Ziltoid, go ahead and start it out.
no, okay. So
nothing.
Cat, come on, Cat. I know. He thinks this is his chair, so if I try to get up and he's sitting on me, he's like, no. I like Ziltoid doing the Jedi wave and his Jedi robe. I don't know if anybody else saw that right now.
He's a Sith Lord. It is not the good kind of Jedi wave. All right, now I can get rid of this. Oops. So it happens once an episode, I swear.
No, they're doing like those calculator games with the text, and they're just typing it at each other. Clearly, is what's going on.
Thank you to our special guest, Mongoose. Thank you for coming, guys. You can say thank you. It's okay.
Thank you. You're welcome.
They're
heroic. Yeah, no. Heroic Division has nothing interesting. They don't play heroes. They just like shadow puppets. Signals.
Shadow puppets of the storm.
I haven't played the StarCraft series. I don't know what would be in character for him.
This is going to be a blooper reel for sure.
This is why we have editors, right? Jay, you gonna take care of all this?
Oh yeah, blooper gold.
That was fun.